We've heard from him a couple times.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Go back to YouTube once, just to make sure.
Just to make
it's
sure.
Muted. That's right. Yeah, that's right there.
We've heard from him a couple times.
Mute that.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right, go back to Zoom and you should be good to go.
When I unmute the Zoom, it unmutes in both places.
We're
Okay.
live right now.
Okay.
All right, good evening, everyone. It being 4 o'clock, I would like to call the Joint Review Board meeting to order. Instead of roll call tonight, what I'd like to do is let's have everybody introduce yourself, if you could, please. I'll start with myself. I'm the Finance Director. My name is Judy Radke, and I'm the Finance Director. Phil?
Phil Costin with Ellers. Good to see everybody.
Hello, Harry Allen with Ellers.
Chad Hurt, City Administrator.
I'm off of screen, but Nicole Lemke, City Clerk.
Let's see, Amy, why don't you go first? You're up top left.
Sure. I'm Amy Van Stratton, representing Fox Valley Technical College.
Christy,
My name is Christy Dorsey, and I am the public member.
Scott,
Scott Black, District Administrator, School District of New London.
and Yvette.
And I'm Yvette Miller, the new Finance Director for Outagamie County.
All right, thank you. Welcome, everyone. On our first item tonight is consideration appointment or reaffirmation of the Joint Review Board public member. Geez, I'm having a hard time talking. And Christy Dorsey already introduced herself. She already sits on our TIF 4 and TIF 5, so I would need a motion to affirm her appointment.
Motion to approve Christie.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, was it Yvette or Amy that made
was-
the second?
It was Yvette.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. All right, next, election or reaffirmation of chairperson. I have been appointed for both TID 4 and TID 5. If somebody else wants to step forward and be chairperson for this one, for TID 6, that would be up to you, but I would need a motion for a chairperson.
I'll make a motion to nominate Judy Radke as chairperson.
Is there a second?
This is Yvette. I'll second that motion.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Next on the agenda is a discuss the responsibilities of the Joint Review Board. And then the next is discuss and review the project plan. I'm going to turn both of those over to Phil Cussin from Ellers.
Thank you, Judy. Welcome, everybody. I'll go through this relatively quick. We have some veterans in the TIF world on the screen. So those that have been through this a number of times. So as far as your responsibilities, we're going to ask you to review the public record, which is going to be the draft of the project plan. We'll go through that in a little bit of detail this afternoon. There'll be a public hearing. Public hearing will be held by Plan Commission after this meeting at 5:15. And they'll have a resolution that if they see fit will approve. That'll forward it on to the council, which is scheduled for April 11th, I believe it is, or 12th, April 12th. And that resolution, when that's adopted, we're going to ask you to review the final project plan and the resolutions from Plan Commission and City Council. And your responsibility then will be to answer the but-for question of whether or not this project or projects will move forward, would move forward without the use of TIF. So I think our goal here is to explain why TIF is being used in this case, and we'll go through that in a little bit.
Sounds good.
Any questions on responsibilities before I move on to the project plan? Hearing none. All right. In the project plan, I'll start by saying this is a relatively straightforward project plan. This is an industrial district, no housing component to it. We were in front of the Outagamie County Finance Committee as well, and we tried to hit on those topics, those topics that we know Outagamie County likes to hit on: housing and access and trails. Nothing of that sort here. This is pretty standard, assisting with a local industry and their expansion, and then also to deal with some stormwater and road issues in the older industrial park in New London. So this is 21.4. I'm in the executive summary on page 3. There's 21.4 acres in the southeastern portion of the city of New London. We are looking at Titan Industries is looking to expand. Their initial plans call for about a $1.7 million expansion. That expansion, as with any industrial type expansion, we find tends to value out from an increment standpoint much less than what they are planning to spend. So you'll see in this document that we're counting on about 40% of that value, or $680,000 as the actual incremental value. If it's greater than that, that will mean the district could close out a little bit earlier, because we have established with them through we don't have a final agreement with them yet, but that there'll be an MRO paid to them up to $150,000. So if the value comes in greater, the MRO is not going to change. Rather, we'll just pay back the district earlier. In addition to that, we do have other project costs. There's a stormwater improvement to serve this area, and also some street improvement costs that we would like to have undertaken within this area as well. We've also added the possibility of a future incentive in case Titan expands again, or if somebody else comes into this area. There are a few vacant lots. Then the city could assist with those companies as well, either expand and or if it's a new company, to help them with their move into this area. So incremental value, we're expecting land and improvement of about $930,000, $680,000 from Titan. The other is kind of an unknown. We expect we'll see some growth, additional growth out in this area. And if this all comes to fruition, we would see this district close within the 20-year allowed life for an industrial tax increment district. We've included maps, as we always do. On page 7 is a map showing the boundary of the area. It also kind of ties back to the parcel list, so you understand which each of these parcels are that are kind of color coordinated on the parcel list and on the boundary map. This is all industrial manufacturing, so we're not expecting any other use. You could have some type of supportive use out there. You could end up with something to support the industrial park and employees in the industrial park that would be allowed. But right now, the plan is really that this area would remain industrial. The current value out there is about a little over 2.8 million. As you're all aware, that base value will continue to be paid out to all the taxing bodies. You'll get your piece of that 2.8 million, and as growth occurs above that, that's the incremental value. And that will be retained by the city to help pay for the MRO that goes back to Titan, the stormwater and the street projects that have been identified. On page number 19 of the project plan, I should be telling you what pages to jump to, right? Oh,
I got it.
I'm
following you.
follow along, okay. You can see where Titan expansion is. It's the blue. If you have a color copy on your with you, but the blue is the expansion area for Titan. They're going to be again undertaking the first expansion, and there's still room for them to expand in the future. there are a few outlots that would be available for development, and a couple of other industries that have been included that have the potential for development as well. On page 20 are the project costs. I already talked about them. The incentive to tighten the stormwater improvement of 130,000 and the road repair of 25,000. And then we have some future incentives down the road that could be undertaken as well. If there are, again, future expansions in the area. On the development side, on page 22, all we're really showing is the Titan expansion and then a kind of TBD placeholder. Again, assuming that something else will happen out in this area, either with Titan or somebody else. We are in a project plan required to look into our crystal ball over 20 years and come up with a projection of what this is all going to play out and look like. So on page 24 is that cash flow. And again, it's pretty simple because all we're really doing here is we're taking 50% of the increment coming from Titan and their expansion, and we're providing that in an MRO up to 150,000. So under the expenditure column, that's the first column. The second column is stormwater improvements that we don't expect the city to necessarily go and borrow for this, but rather advance the money and reimburse themselves back over time as increment is available. We have some road funds. The same would be the case there, where the city will advance the money and get reimbursed back out of the TID increment. And you can see by 2042, the district closes out in the black. We certainly, if we see expansion from Titan be greater, we would expect to be able to move this up a couple of years and hopefully close this out a little bit earlier. The other items in the project plan are really required per statute that we need to touch on. We're not annexing any property. This is all property that's already in the city boundaries. This is, there's no retail business that we're looking to undertake here. This is all area zoned for industrial, so there's really no change in zoning or master plan that needs to be done. And it really kind of fits within the orderly development of the city, since this is really kind of more infill development in the current business park. So pretty standard as far as the tax increment district goes, without a lot of moving parts. This is really, again, just to help a local industry. Chad, do you want to add anything on the stormwater improvement?
Yeah, so Nicole, if you go back to page, I think it was 7 of the maps. So if you can envision, Nicole, on the yellow one on 733, there's a stormwater right, you kind of see the bisection from the top left to the bottom right. You kind of see that right there. That's a stormwater ditch right there that needs improvements. It's eroding. It's an easement that the city is required to maintain. We also have some issues right there where there are culvert. We need to do some repairs to that. So it's going to be very convenient to make those repairs, especially because Titan is going to be working on developing the property up the top in the blue. If that is kind of affecting or will be kind of they're putting more impervious surface on that lot, so there should be more runoff, so that we want to make sure that we're capturing properly all that stormwater runoff. So it's kind of helping us with those stormwater plans.
Exactly, I would reiterate that. It helps us keep this business within New London and their expansion within New London. And it also gives us the dollars to be able to take care of that stormwater issue, that infrastructure, not having to use general fund dollars or other dollars that we know are very difficult to come by today. Does anyone have any questions of any of us about this project? Hearing none.
One second.
I'll ask again, does anyone have any questions of the project of any of us? Okay, if not, today, or this meeting was more of an introduction and history or overview of what that project is going to look like. Once it goes tonight to the Planning Commission and then off to council, we will reconvene again on a date, which is number 7, set the next meeting. We're not actually going to set that tonight. I think what we'll do is get back in touch with you after that April 12th meeting and then put together some kind of poll to see what time works best for everyone. Probably try to do that during the day if that works for everyone. We won't need to come in at night and do that, and we can do it via Zoom. And then the same project plan, we're anticipated to come forth on you on that day to be approved.
But if possible, fairly soon after that, because I know Titan is
Yeah.
waiting on us a
At
little
the
bit.
bit,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah, I think the
So-
earliest we could probably do it would be the week of April 25th to the 28th, because we do have a notice requirement. So if the council met on the 12th, we would have to get a notice in, and, you know, so it would probably be that last week of April would probably be around the time, maybe late the week before that would work too, but maybe are you weekly paper involved?
It is, and it's a Thursday publication.
The Thursday publication. But if you met on the 12th, you wouldn't probably have the ability to get on the 14th anyhow, would you? No. So it'd be the 21st, it would appear in the paper. So the earliest would probably be the 28th. And or we'll push into the first week of May.
That'll give everyone some kind of a timeline of when we'll be looking at to schedule that meeting. So after the 28th, but very shortly after that. And we'll send out a notice or a doodle poll or something to find out what works best for everyone. Are there any other questions? If not, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. This is Amy.
Second?
I'll second. This is Yvette.
All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.